I'm working on some brick, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to share how I create it. So typically I'll get a spreadsheet from my client and they'll call out the brick manufacturer and the brick color. I'll go to the website and find their samples, and this is a pretty low res tiling sample. Unfortunately, this is, I think, where most people stop. They'll just use this and paste it onto a plane. But for high-end stuff, that doesn't work. So this is my process. So I take that brick and I use some software to sample it up. So I make the image larger. And this is some software called Topaz Gigapixel AI. And then I can go up 0.5, 2 times, 4 times, 6 times, I think up to 12 times. I try to get around 4K, and 4 times is 4K, and I'll save it. So it's going from 800 by 400 to 3000 by 1800. Then I'll open the brick, and then I'll create some guides. This is an old trick back into my web development days. Back then, you would create your web page, and since bandwidth wasn't that high, you would chop it up and it would load faster. So I grab these grids, or rules they're called, and I line them up with the grout lines the best I can, and then I slice it. Where is it? Slice tool, slice from guides, and then I use the Save for Web Legacy, and then I save it. And then I'll move these guides down to the next layer. I want to get as many samples of brick, full brick, as I can. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to delete the ones that don't work. So right now I have 4 bricks. I'm going to rename them Highland Diffused. Having diffused in the description and the file name is important. I'll show you why. I can spell it right. And then I'll export these. Same thing, delete the ones I can't use. So now I have 8 full bricks. Okay. Done with Photoshop. So now I'm going to use a plugin called OmniTile. Create a new pattern. Textures. This is why it's important to have the word diffused, because it'll search that folder for maps with diffused. And so I can have a specular, a bump, a reflection, and then I'd have that description in the file name. So it'd be Highland Bump, Highland Reflection. Since these aren't close-up views, I only need the bump or the diffused file, so that's fine. Okay, now I'm going to create the pattern, and this is going to be a typical brick, typical American brick. And stretcher bond. Okay, I'm going to do a preview. And I'm going to set the tiling here. Let's go 10 by 10. So it'll randomly place one of those full bricks, and then it'll flip it horizontally and I think vertically to create your pattern. Looks good. So now I'll render it out. At 4K, and then I'll put it in that same folder. And then after a second or two, I'll have a tileable, seamless brick pattern. So here in 3ds Max, I'll create a brick. And then in that folder, here, I'll have the diffuse, and it also creates this edge which I use as a bump or displacement. And then I'll apply a map scaler. And then in the maps, I'll go to the bump, and I'll pick that edge. And that's how I create my bricks. And on this guy, I'm not sure if the size is right. So 9 inches by 3 inches. Yep, that's about right. On this project is actually row bricks. For instance, above the above the windows and doors. Same process, except when I go back to OmniTile, I choose a different pattern. This way my all my bricks match. So I may have a project that has white brick with white grout, and there may be herringbone and stacked and running bond, and the only way you can really have all those bricks match and be seamless is by creating your own brick. I don't think I've ever found a site that sells high resolution textures have different types of stacked brick. I may be wrong, but anyhow, that's how I create my brick.